Good morning, Supercoaches. We've got a couple of trades in each of the squads, the overall team and the head-to-head squad here. And I'm pretty excited about the week ahead. It's going to be a fun one. A couple of guys we have to sit in this one that could actually come out and score pretty well also. And then some vice captaincy loopholing stuff that I do hope really works out, because the way that I can loop is going to work out pretty well. So let's kick it off with that. I'm going to be vice captaining Tommy Turbo this week. They played a fourth game of the week there against Parra at home at 4 Pines Park, which is really cool. And this week with Curran and Hughes both out, that means the trade-in of last week, just for this reason, was to get Willison to make some money and hopefully kind of score a 40-odd like he did last week in this week. And we do have Payne Haas back, but Willison could come out and score a try. Like there's those kind of things that he's able to do, which is cool. But if Tommy goes 110, that would be, I think, the minimum. 105, 110. In that one, we know what Hines can do. But in that scenario, I think I'll be taking the loop. Just given that, looking at my bench, it's really only Joe Chan that I would be tremendously worried about. Willison could score the same as Lussick, as Galvin, as Strange. They're the only other guys I've got on my bench. So it's likely that, unless there's an injury, that I'll get a very similar score to that of what Willison could get anyway. So he would be the guy that I'd sub out for a Curran or a Hughes and put the captaincy on there. So that's where I'm starting with the vice captaincy loophole. If that doesn't work out, it gets like an 80 odd again, like last week, I'll just be straight captaining Nico, and I'm super excited about that after last week's tremendous effort there. So my trades for the week, we have gone with James Schiller and Ponga out. And the reason for Schiller is that he's pretty well made his money now. He's got a low 40s break even, and he's in a spot now where I think we can sell him fairly comfortably. Like the Raiders aren't going to put on a score against the Sharks randomly. Like I just don't see it happening, even at home. And with him, like if he's getting a 40 or something like that this week, his money making is done. So I'm happy to move him on. And that's the only way I can get to Walshy. So big downgrade from Ponga to Walsh, which is cool. And then Schiller goes to Tungo. And if I did have enough money available, I'm very close. I'm about 15k short or so, 20k short of going Burbo to Tungo. But again, Burbo keeps me with that 2RF duel. So if one of my 2RFs go down, I can move Burbo up there and bring in a center wing or something like that, which is cool. So the theory around Walsh obviously is the price. Like I don't think we're going to get him any cheaper than this. It does leave me with a bit of bank for next week. I was looking potentially at Pappenhausen as my other option, and I'm just short of that of Chance. They were the other guys I was looking at in that fullback position. There wasn't really anyone clear in the center wing that I wanted this week. Like there was, the Garricks, Meanies, these types of guys. But I do have a lot of Storm in this team currently. So in that scenario, I wanted to spread the wealth a little bit. Don't have any Broncos attacking players anyway. So Walsh comes in at the cheap price, and I'm looking to get Isaac Tungo in. Just with Cleary coming back, we know he has a tremendous ceiling. He's lost 80k last week. Still a very high break even, but they have a terrific run over the next 3 weeks, and I suspect that they can score some tries against the Cowboys. And we know that Cleary works really well with Isaac Tungo on that right hand side. Obviously at the start of the year, but the back end of last year especially as well. Tungo was extremely dominant. So that's the one I'm going to go for. It's a little bit more of a pod type of play. So I'm excited to go with that, given, I'm ranked okay now at 8,500, and I'd like to try and make some more ranks up, that's for sure. So Coruscant, we're very much hoping for a better score, even anything 50 plus at this stage I'll be happy with. Just not running the footy enough and the like, but hopefully that's the case. Terrell May, with the news of Radley being out, I do suspect that he'll finally get back to his normal minutes, which would be good. Willison, we just spoke about him. Hopefully it's enough minutes. But if not, I'll loop him out. Katoa, Crichton, Fermor, Kaipis, Paul, and Smithies. I'm going to give Smithies another crack. I think he'll get back to some bigger minutes than 48, that's for sure. Closer to the 60, or if things go poorly in that game, he could get back to the 80 again. You're obviously playing 80, 90, and 80 the last 2 weeks. There's a good reason why I think they're obviously getting pumped in that first half of the game too. So good time to get him off in that one. He obviously was a part of all that smashing, the 28-0 drubbing in the first half. So it's not like he was making a big difference out there, that's for sure. But we love him, so he'll stick in the squad longer term. But yeah, 2RF position, we're pretty happy with. Obviously, Bowie with 49 last week in that massively high-scoring game. No attacking stats. If it's a little bit closer, or if he can get an attacking stat, he'll get back to those 60s, 70s that he was getting the 2 weeks prior. So cool, that's that position's sweet. Halfback, not getting Cleary this week. Sticking with Jerome Hughes, they've got a lovely matchup this week against the Souths, and Jerome could go nuts as well. And don't need to make that trade as yet, and that extra 140k or whatever it is to get to Cleary, that would be a boost. And I can't do it with the cash I have available anyway, so we'll leave that for now. I'm excited for Hughes over the next few weeks. They've got a couple of really nice games, round 8 and then round 9. They play Titans, I'm pretty sure, wherever that is there. Melbourne against Titans. So yeah, super excited about those 2 matchups for the Storm boys. And there we go. Brown and Galvin. So Brown play him. Holmes, obviously Tungwa. Roger against Titans this week, I'm excited for. And then I'm going to go Arrow against the Raiders. He's definitely due for an attacking stat. And we know that if he can get an attacking stat with his terrific base, he'll be an 80-plus scorer. I'm going to bench Strange this week. And we obviously have Talangi and Burbo to deal with over the next few weeks for sure. We'll find a cheapie. We'll find a mid-range or something like that we can work with for sure. Unless we lose one of our big dogs and we can muck around with 2 kind of 600 something odd thousand players like that. And then Turbo and Walsh. So pretty happy with the setup right now. 30 trades after these 2. Still 2 boosts remaining. Sitting in I think a fairly solid position and making good ranks. And I mentioned I was going to go through the history of the squad here in the other video, and I forgot to go through it, but 28,000 into 71,000, 59, 54,000, 28,000, 15,000 into 8.5. So a terrific improvement there. And since round 1, we've upped our team value all the way from 11.5 there to 13.6. So a couple million made. We're starting to build that really nicely over the last few weeks. We had a couple of slow ones there, obviously coming into round 3 and 4, only a few $100K difference. But last week we went up about $570,000, 408,000 the week before. So big week last week. Very happy with that. And that's my team right now. Make sure you set up your squads. We got 4.5 hours, or will be less by the time this video comes out, until the first game at 2 p.m. With the Warriors. I'm super excited to watch that one. And obviously Anzac Day today. I hope you guys are, if you've gone to the dawn service, good work with that. Hope you're having a lovely day and celebrating the Diggers. So that's my team. We'll go to the head-to-head squad now. So we've also made 2 trades in this squad. 1 trade more that we've used down at 29, and still 2 boosts remaining, which is cool as well. But Coruscant Lussick, same setup up top. Adam Fanua-Blake, after buying him last week, was terrific with Terrell May, so that's good. And then we've got Husey and Henry. So Henry would like a bit of a bounce back week after losing 24k following the head knock a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully he can get back in some decent points, decent minutes, and not lose too much and keep himself around the mid 300s, which would be good. We've got Olakau'atu, Crichton, Kaipis, Paul, and Smithies. Currently, there's potential for me to change the Smithies reserve for Lane. We'll work that out across the weekend. Obviously, coming up against Manly, can Parramatta bounce back? Is Smithies going to get massive minutes? They're the questions we could use. And obviously, if we're differentiating between the 2 teams, then that could be the play there to go Lane over Smithies. But Morgan's averaging better after his kind of slow start to the season. So that's that section there. Pretty happy with that, obviously, with all the Kawatu and Kaipis, Paul, and Crichton, obviously. And then Hines and Johnson. So Johnson against the Titans. I'm not going to VC him because I want the option. Last week it cooked me a little bit. I didn't have the option to captain Hines because I'd VC'd Johnson. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm just going to play Johnson. He's carrying a bit of an Achilles injury, which he's been carrying for multiple weeks, guys. It's only really come out now. Maybe it's a little bit worse. I'm not exactly sure. But he was dealing with an issue about a month ago, and he's still, he wasn't goal kicking for that reason, and now he's still got it. So if you own him, don't stress too much. Sounds like he's fine to play up against the Titans. Great news on that front. But I'm just going to play him, obviously with a injury risk being there. I won't be having him as vice and ruining that chance with Hines. And my vice this week is going to be Ryan Pappenhausen. So I changed it up in the head-to-head side. And the reason here, I just want Pap's kind of getting into his work. He's slowly getting there. He's got a 70 average, and that includes a couple of low games for him against tougher opponents too. And I've actually coupled him with Nick Meaney this week. So I spoke about Nick last week, a couple of weeks ago actually, and he was a lot more expensive than this, closer to 700k, and he went 30 odd into 61. And now they actually have a nicer run, which I'll show in a second. But Schiller and Ponga, same two trade outs, go to Nick Meaney and Pappenhausen. So as well, compared to the overall side, I don't have any Storm players. I got Eli Katoa and Jerome Hughes in that team. So this one I don't, and I wanted some attacking players from the Storm over the next run. And if we look at Meaney, guys, he obviously hasn't scored particularly well in any case, but 63k he's down from his starting price where he was playing fullback last year. But just be aware he's still goal kicking, guys, which is helpful. But a 44 against Panthers, it's the Panthers, 61 against the Wires, 83 against the Knights. So two of your Warriors are still a really tough opponent. And then you've got Newcastle as being their easiest opponent so far. Broncos, he still got 69 against, 61 against the Roosters, which was a close game. And then he got pumped on that right-hand side against the Dogs' left-hand side, which, Hughes, all these guys struggled in that matchup, right? But going forward, including the buys, South this week into Titans, then you've got the Sharks, which is probably the hardest one, into Para, who are struggling, into Manly, which are letting in a lot of points, into the bye, then Newcastle, Warriors, Dolphins, Canberra, Tigers, right? So they don't play Panthers all the way until round 24, which is their next hard one. But, you look at their starting draw, fairly tough, and it only gets easier over the next period with teams that are letting in some points. So him and Pap, I'm vice-captaining Pap for that reason. I think some news came out through the week that he's back to about 96% of his top running speed from 3 years ago, which is really exciting news. And I do think that the Storm are eventually going to explode and expand their attack game, and it's all going to start to click, and they're going to put on 30, 40 against teams. They haven't done that this year yet. Absolutely dominated the side. And I do think that's going to come over the next few weeks, and I'm going to back that in the head-to-head side. And obviously the addition there is they both don't play Origin, and I can still get some wins across the Origin bye period for my head-to-heads, which is very much needed. So that's my general thoughts on that situation at the moment. I could, and I was tempted to go for Turbo in this side, but with Turbo playing Origin, he misses 4 games across that period. So I believe my head-to-heads still play in round 13, 16, 19. So it's a little bit different in that scenario. Trying to get some wins there. It's going to be very, very helpful, and I need it considering I'm in the back sort of 5 of 20 in my head-to-head league. So Pappenhausen and Meaney are going to be really helpful across that period. I'm not going to have to touch them. They should be able to score better than they both have right now. Pap's still averaging 70, even with the start that he's had. And you look at his scoring, and it's the 30 against Panthers into 132 against the Wires, which was big. 78 against Newcastle, 75 with a sin bin against the Dogs, and then a couple of 50s against Broncos and Sydney Roosters, who are better teams. So he's warming into the season. I think he'll start to explode soon. And then if he's exploding well, Meaney with the goal kicking, and he's only scored 1 try this year, and I think 1 try assist. So that'll start to increase in a really good team as well. So that's my thoughts on the trades. I've got Bostock I'm going to play this week. I'm going to bench Strange again. I think in this one, it could come back to bite me, but in other senses, he could also be... Jeez, that's a loud plane. Must have been going close. Anyway, last time I benched Strange in both teams, he got 92. And so hopefully for your guys' sake, he does that again. But I'm going to be playing Taylor May this week in his return up against the Tigers. Surely he has a bounce back. And I suppose if Tungal doesn't score well, then in my overall team, then maybe May will score well in the head-to-head team. So that's the theory on that one. Strange will be running the show, but I don't expect them to win that game. And yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to get a tremendous amount of points in that one. And Iro, I think, is due for that as well. Drinky against Drinky against the Panthers this week. Not super excited about that matchup, but him and the matchups following are Dolphins, Titans, South, Tigers, and Roosters with a few out in round 13. And you get him all the way through until 16. So he's going to be a tremendous buy next week. He'll lose some cash this week, but that's fine. Hopefully he can still score a 60 odd or 70 would be delightful. And then we can get a really good run from him. So I'm excited about that for the following weeks. And then obviously having Pap and Meaney against Titans in round 9. It's going to be really cool as well. So there you go. that's that one this week, guys. 157k in the bank to make an upgrade or two next week, which would be awesome. And I can't wait for that. And good luck to you guys this week. That's the Supercoach wrap and my trades for the week. I hope you guys are set up really well and you have a great score. See you, team.